The Duke and Duchess of York were a recurring family problem that King Charles inherited along with the throne. This is more than just a personal issue that just affects family life. It is a problem with public relations that has a long-lasting negative impact on the monarchy. King Charles III has a huge task ahead of him. He has to keep the public's trust, modernize the monarchy, and ensure its continued relevance in a society that is changing quickly. However, members of his own family are obstructing this goal. The Yorks, Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, are still very much in the news, frequently for reasons that do the organization no favors. For many, their continuous presence serves as a reminder of past errors and current disputes. The king sees it as a family nightmare that will not go away, and a diversion from his ideal of a more slender and esteemed House of Windsor. For many years, Prince Andrew's reputation has been severely tarnished. The scandals involving his relationships with scandalous people are more than just regrettable incidents. Due of these persistent stains, he is no longer actively involved in public royal life. He was once a well-known senior royal, has lost both royal patronage and military titles. His glaring absence from official tasks is a remarkable decline in status that has never happened in contemporary royal history. However, this goes beyond a single person's personal sorrow. Every time these issues are brought up in the media, the monarchy is pulled back into a story it wants to leave behind. The public's faith, which is already brittle in this era of constant scrutiny, is repeatedly shattered. The royal household's judgment, accountability, and awareness of the gravity of these previous decisions are all questioned. It is a recurring theme for King Charles, and an unpleasant reminder of how brittle the institution's reputation is. The Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, is standing next to Andrew. Through media appearances and charitable endeavors, she has attempted to regain her reputation over the years. However, too frequently, her own words or deeds have sabotaged her attempts. Most recently, there was a stir due to released emails. Many people were confused and upset by the phrases she used in these emails. The outcome was immediate and important. Numerous non-profit organizations severed their links with her. This was no small matter for someone who has long worked to restore her public image. Disappointment, but a severe blow. It implied a lack of understanding of the extent to which the scandals of the past still had resonance. The past continues to loom large over the Duchess and Prince Andrew. The repercussions are obvious for the king. His goal is to portray the monarchy as efficient, contemporary, and accountable. However, such message is constantly undermined by the Yorks' struggles. They run the risk of promoting an image of luxury without accountability, which is exactly what the monarch is trying to dispel. Any controversy, no matter how minor, has an impact on the entire organization. It casts doubt on the family's collective judgment and detracts from the great job being done elsewhere in the royal household. It's as if the king is trying to build a contemporary, long-lasting structure, yet parts of the foundation are being undermined by unresolving fissures. Perception is just as big of a difficulty as reality. Many people believe that the York represent the exact kind of challenge Charles must face in order to ensure the long-term viability of the monarchy. So what can be done? The king's alternatives are everything but simple. In addition to being a brother and member of the family, he is the sovereign and is in charge of defending the crown above all else. Putting more space between the Yorks and the monarchy is one way. To prevent additional harm to the institution, this may entail lowering the little exposure of their public role that still exists. Although it would be a difficult choice, it might protect the monarchy's reputation in general. At Christmas, the Yorks might not be accepted. Another strategy is to promote increased family accountability. By demanding greater levels of judgment and discretion, the king could indicate that no matter the personal cost, monarchy upholds a rigid rule of conduct. As an alternative, Charles can try to highlight the good deeds of the entire royal family, creating a stark contrast by emphasizing integrity, service, and charity. He could clearly state that these are the ideals the monarchy wants to portray: putting the York's disputes in sharp contrast. The most extreme alternative is to either formalize the York's diminished functions or to cut off all formal relationships. A choice like that would cause great personal suffering and run the risk of widening family rifts. However, if the Crown's reputation is in jeopardy, it may eventually become inevitable. Whether the Yorks should stay at the Royal Lodge is still up for debate. The King's response to this persistent problem will determine the monarchy's future credibility in light of the most recent scandals and their continued financial difficulties in the event that they are evicted. Scandals have severely damaged the Yorks' image, and their problems still cloud the royal family as a whole. This is more than a familial issue for King Charles III. It is a test that defines his rule. Can he protect the integrity of the monarchy in the face of ongoing disputes? Can he make sure that, in spite of the distractions in his personal home, the institution comes out stronger? His legacy will be shaped by these inquiries. For the king, it is a time of reckoning, but it is also a family nightmare in many ways. It will decide how history recalls the initial years of his rule.